Hi and welcome to the vlog. Okay, so one of the questions I'm often asked when we're talking to other people about boats and all that sort of thing is how do I get a decent Wi-Fi signal on the boat? Because obviously it's just a steel box, isn't it, really? Which is not the best of ways of getting signals from the towers, etc. So I thought I would go through, what I actually do, how I get my internet and Wi-Fi on the boat. Those of you that have watched previous vlogs will know that I've come from a background of full-time living in camper vans and motorhomes. And during that period, what I used to use was in fact one of these. It's a little tiny Huawei MiFi device. And basically you put a SIM card in this. You can get a SIM card from any of the big companies, O2, Vodafone, EE, etc. And you can put it into this device. And that will give you then Wi-Fi, throughout the camper van as it was. And when I first came onto the boat, I used it on the boat. The problem with one of these is that they're not particularly good inside the boat. As I've just said, it's a steel tube effectively. So this was fine if I literally put it and hung it in the window, but just leaving it around the boat, yeah, you'd get a signal, but it wasn't a particularly good one. Now, just to point out, as I said, this little Huawei device. Now there are several different models, but they all look the same. You can get them in white, you can get them in black. But this particular one, as you can see, you can recharge it with USB, but it's also got a little flap here which you can open up. I don't know whether you can see that properly on the camera, but there are two little points there where you can attach aerial cables to. But with an aerial connection, you could improve the situation a little bit. And what I used to use in the camper van, and when I first came onto the boat, was one of these aerials that you could stick on in the window, give you a much better signal because it was a much wider surface area to pick the signal up. It came with two aerial cables, and basically you only need one of these. But effectively, what happens? There's some sort of workings inside the aerial that, if you connect these both, the device would pick up whichever cable is picking up the strongest signal, and then would boost the performance. So that's what I used for years in the camper van, and I say for the first few months when I first came onto the boat. Again, it worked, but to be honest, over the last month or so, I've been really struggling to get a decent speed with the Wi-Fi. To give you some idea, my download speeds dropped down to 4, 5, and 6, and my upload speeds were like 2, 2.5, 3 at the very best. So really, really sluggish and slow. And it meant that sometimes if I was watching a YouTube video, it would hesitate, it would, buffer and things like that. So I needed to upgrade my setup. So basically what I did was to look online, get some idea of what was on the market, and there are various things that you can buy. But what I ended up with was this. This is the TP-Link, and it's the AC 1200, which is basically another model name is the Archer MR 600. Now, I'm not going to do an involved box opening and things like that because, you've probably seen it all before anyway. But I will explain what you get in the box. So when you get this in the box, you will find that obviously you get the router itself. Now, this is the TP-Link router. Sorry if I'm getting some reflections, but hopefully you can see that there. Now, basically, if I turn this round, you can see that I've got an aerial slot here and an aerial slot here. I've got on-off, obviously, and then I've got the WLAN and LAN lines that you can come out from there. Now, as far as I'm concerned, I'm really only using this to get Wi-Fi throughout the boat. So I'm not actually going to be using these as such. I mean, I could if I wanted to connect directly to a printer or indeed directly to the computer, but probably be a bit quicker. But that would be a little bit inconvenient. So I'm just going to use this as a Wi-Fi router. Now, it's easy to set up. So these are the basic connections at the back of the unit. basically what you get the router, and you get the connector, the power cable. As far as the power cable is concerned, it's interesting because obviously this is a standard English plug, 13 amp type plug, 230 volt plug. But if you look at the writing on the back of the plug, I don't know whether you can actually see that. You might be able to pick it up, I'm not sure. But let me read. It says that the input to the device is between 100 and 240 volts, but the output is only 12 volt, which means that if you're a continuous cruiser like me, you're not going to have mains hookup. So obviously, in order to use this with this plug on it, you would need to get a small inverter. You only need a very small one, maybe 200 watts or whatever. But nonetheless, it seems a bit crazy, doesn't it? But you're going to connect a little inverter to your 12 volt system to plug this into. The 240 volt, or the mains then that comes out your inverter, would go into this device, which would then reduce it back down to 12 volt in order to power the device. So I did originally, when I bought this, think, well, what can I do? I don't really want to, use an inverter. But the fact that it was the output was 12 volt, I thought, I know what I can do. I can cut this cable and just wire this up to a normal 12 volt car type connector, and that way I'm going 12 volt all the way through to 12 volt. But it did seem a shame to have to cut this cable, because there might be an occasion when I have got a hookup or whatever and I could use this plug. So what I ended up doing was to look online, and I found this cable. Now this cable is the correct fitting for the TP-Link. Effectively, this end has got a 5.5 millimeter external diameter with a 2.1 millimeter internal diameter. So this is what connects in. But this end is a USB, but it's actually gives 12 volt directly out. So it's not just like a phone charger. It would actually give you the 12 volt directly out at 2 amp. So as I said, this will actually give you an output of DC 12 volt, which is brilliant, because now I can plug this end into the 12 volt on the boat. I've got lots of different 12 volt connections all the way through the boat. And then this just connects into the back of the TP-Link. So that made life a lot easier. It means that I don't have to worry about mains. And when you get the router, it actually comes with these two aerials, and these two aerials will screw onto the back, and then you can put them up and down. But obviously, once again, the fact that this is inside the boat, the aerials will be inside the boat. Yes, you can get a signal, but it's probably not the best signal that you can get. So what I in fact did was to buy an external aerial, which I've now got on the roof. It's mounted onto a magnetic pole which clamps onto the roof of Bubbly Too, and then I've got the cables coming in, and then the cables would just screw into the back of the router using SMA connectors. Now when I say SMA connectors, if I can just show you on this sort of smaller aerial, the aerial has got two wires, as I said, and the ends are actually unscrewable. If I unscrew these two ends that came with the thing, and then you might be able to see that the ends are just like a TV aerial cable, and this is what would screw directly back into the back of the router. You don't need these other connections. You do if you're going to use the Huawei, but not for the TP-Link. Okay, so we now have our TP-Link router. We've got an external aerial, the wires coming in that connect to the TP-Link, and we've got a power cable. And really, it's simplicity itself now, because all you need to do is to connect the power supply, obviously, connect your aerial up, and then you can hang this anywhere. You can put it anywhere inside the boat, really, providing your cables will connect to, wherever you want it to go. And then you put your SIM card in the back. Now, at the moment, I've got an unlimited data SIM with EE, and it works brilliantly. So you put your SIM card in the back, you connect up the aerial cables, you connect up the power cable, and then literally you just press the on-off button. And what will happen is that after a few seconds, the power light will flash on and off on the front of the TP-Link. After another few seconds, you'll get the typical Wi-Fi signal come up, and then a few seconds later you'll get a strength, be it 1, 2 or 3 bars, and you'll also get a symbol that says that you're connected to the internet. That's all there is to it. It's really simple. The one thing I like about the TP-Link is the fact that you can get a free app from either Google or the App Store or whatever, download it onto your mobile phone, and then you can connect it to this device, which means that you can change the name of the device. So if you've got a particular name you want to give your own personal network, if you want to change the password or anything like that, you can do. And it will also give you a test, so you can test the speed. Now, if I told you before that with the older Huawei device and the smaller aerial, I was struggling, and I think in part it was because at the time I had a Vodafone SIM, and it just seems to me that Vodafone, the longer you're with them, the slower it seems to be. I don't know whether that's fact or fiction, but that just seemed to be that way. And I was struggling to, as I said, to get download speeds in the mid-single figures. 4 or 5 was the best I was normally getting, and the upload speeds of 1 or 2, 2.5 at best. Connecting up the TP-Link with an external aerial and using the EE data SIM, I'm getting speeds now of 40, 50, even 60 as download speeds, and my upload speeds are around 20, 18 to 20. So that's a fantastic difference, which means that I don't have any problems uploading videos or watching videos or whatever. So yeah, I'm really, really pleased with the overall performance. Cost-wise, this is interesting because with the small Wi-Fi, the Huawei Wi-Fi device, you can buy these for £30–40. If you buy one from one of the main mobile companies, it's going to cost you a lot more. Yeah, because normally they want you to do it on a contract, so you're paying every month for a 1 year or 2 years, and it costs you a fortune. To give you some idea, and no names mentioned, but one particular company I did phone and said, do you supply a 4 or a 5G Wi-Fi router that I can use? I explained that I was on the boat. Yes, no problems at all. We have a 5G one, but you could only get it on contract, but generally it was for 2 years, and it was locked to that particular company's network, at least for the first 6 months. And then when I asked the price, it was eye-watering, because it worked out that over a 2-year period, a Wi-Fi device, something similar to this, but not the TP-Link, would have cost me in the region of £1,000. That is just bizarre. This cost me just on 100. So yeah, and it's mine, it's unlocked, I can put whatever SIM I like in it. So yeah, overall, it's been a good way to go. And I'm very happy with the performance. Now, I will put links to all the various things I've mentioned. This is the TP-Link, the special cable for powering it up, as well as the aerial. I'll put links in the description below. I should point out that I did buy this with my own money, as I did with the cable and the aerial and the mast, etc. I've not been given anything free, so it's not as if I'm, trying to sort of push a particular product. It's just that this is what I decided to buy, and having bought it, I can honestly say that I'm very impressed with it, and would certainly recommend it if you're in a similar situation to what I am. So I'll say I will put links to these in the description below the video. So I hope you found that interesting and hopefully a little helpful. But what sort of system do you use? Do you use a similar system, or have you got something completely different? Be good to know. Let me know in the comments below, because there's probably lots of people that would be interested in various different ways of doing things. So once again, thanks for watching. If you did enjoy it, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and click the bell, and then you'll be notified every time I upload a video. Once again, thanks for watching. Look forward to seeing you on the next one. Thanks again.